so bad, and I'm not so good.
I just can't tell him, hey, listen, go out with your guitar.
Je veux être une femme.
So hi there, I'm Nicholas Casamia, and I'm here with Noah Cowan. Noah.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Never better.
Really?
Yeah, getting ready for the festival.
Who is that, Jack?
I'm looking for the office of Ward Jansen of the Miami Times.
I work for the Times.
The Paperboy is the one I'm really curious about because it's Lee Daniels, who is an out gay man.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, and sort of is has made some other films before this, like Precious.
Yeah, The Paperboy got a lot of buzz, positive and negative, during Cannes. It's a really interesting film because it harkens back to a sort of 70s exploitation movie, but Lee, in his inimitable way, actually sort of turns the tables on the sort of exploitation formula. Normally, in the 70s, grindhouse tradition would be associated with an enormous amount of TNA. In this case, what he just has Zac Efron like wandering around in his underwear every single scene, you know, or dancing, or getting wet, or coming out of the ocean, or getting peed on by Nicole Kidman, or you know, everything. And so it's basically he becomes a TNA.
I really just want to thank you for helping me get Hillary out of that hellhole.
Well, I wouldn't go booking the honeymoon just yet.
I think queer audiences will really like it though, because it, you know, it does have this way of sort of turning the tables on your own expectations about what this film might look like and how people might be represented.
There was a lot of showmanship. Geffen would love to get people on the phone and talk to them so that everybody could hear what he was saying to them. It was all a big show.
Well, listen, what do you think we should do with Neil?
One of the big gets this year is David Geffen. He's going to be coming here and also here with a documentary about him. Now, he is a legend and very seldom talks to the media. So can we talk about that?
This is a very complicated guy. You know, he's not a traditional hero. You know, he's not like the Nelson Mandela of the gays. He's a brutal agent, you know, a brutal manager, you know, screwed over as many gays as he's helped, you know, in his long career. You know, famously exploitative of sort of young talent in different times. But on the other hand, has been a real champion, especially for AIDS causes, for visual art, particularly with queer-themed artists. He's a complicated individual who's exerted enormous power over our society, over how we actually see ourselves, the music we listen to, the films we watch.
We were attracted to people who generated their own material, that had a voice, so to speak.
And I think this is maybe a guideline for the kinds of queer figures that are going to become increasingly interesting for the cinema. These people who maybe have hurt us as much as they've helped us, but they sort of maybe reflect maybe more genuinely who we are than some of the figures from Brokeback Mountain and other films in the past, which romanticize maybe the, you know, in that case, how kind of gay men operate in the world.
Gay? Quelle brututa.
A film in the film festival is Out in the Dark, an Israeli film, a queer Israeli film that's kind of an interesting dichotomy because there's some issue, of course, you know, with Israel in general. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I'm really curious to see how people respond to this film. You know, there's obviously the politics of Israel and Palestine is a big one, and a big one in the queer community. Basically, you have a well-to-do Israeli guy who falls in love with a Palestinian, who's on a student visa. Palestinian's family is involved in some stuff, but they're pretty minor players in terms of the violence taking place in the West Bank. But the student kind of gets caught between the Israeli security forces who want to blackmail him because of his sexuality, and this lover who really adores him. And it forces them into making a lot of choices which really no other gay couple in the world needs to make. How those choices play out, I think, is fascinating in terms of the dynamic that's going on in that region right now and what it means to stay and contend politically with what's happening in the region and what it means to leave and what you give up.
J'ai jamais eu l'impression que t'étais ma mère.
Mais moi, j'ai jamais eu l'impression que t'étais mon fils. Par contre, j'ai l'impression que t'es ma fille.
So let's talk about Lawrence anyways.
This is a really different film for Xavier Dolan, and very impressive. Extremely ambitious and very challenging. It tells a very simple and very emotionally precise story about one man who discovers his transsexual identity.
C'est une révolution.
What is your favorite film at this year's film festival?
I'm supporting a number of different films and a lot of future projections. And we have a great one this year, a kind of a multiple layered look at Peaches, the great performance artist, rock star. So we're not only showing a film of hers called Peaches Does Herself, but we've partnered with the Drake on an installation which will take place throughout the entire duration of the festival, and a wild party night on the second Friday of the festival, which Drake is doing. I think it's about $10. And it's going to be a sort of collection of Peaches collaborators and she herself, you know, sort of engaging in the same themes as the film, which is, I'm going to solve the highs and lows of engaging transsexually in the world sexually.
Well, it's not really a musical, it's an opera, right? A different kind of, like a electro opera.
Thank you very much for doing
My pleasure.
this. Okay, thanks. And we'll be watching out of TIFF.
Great, see you all.